Better turn off my action here. There we go. Next on our agenda is another acronym state plan. It's our, I think I've got it right, WIOA, which is our Utah's Work, Innovation, and Opportunity Act. Stephanie Patton and Dr. Voorhees, are you going to introduce this opportunity for the board? We are ahead of schedule.
Chair, I don't see either of them online. I will reach out to them and see if they'll jump on.
Well, let's.
Chair, I can do the monthly budget.
Yeah, for the interest of time, we'll jump back to this. Let's move to item 6. If you can reach out and get them on deck, that would be good. Let's move to our monthly budget report. These are informational items. Turn the time over to. Oh. Well.
I am. This is Stephanie Patton. I am on.
Chair, I can do the monthly budget.
Yeah, in the interest of time. Did Dr. Voorhees join us yet? Okay, let's go to our Utah's Work, Innovation, and Opportunity Act state plan. Thank you, Scott, for being able to move from being on deck, but let's turn the time over to Stephanie Patton and Dr. Voorhees. Can you introduce the opportunity for the board?
Thank you, Chair. Leah Voorhees, Assistant Superintendent of Student Support. We are excited to share with you the proposed update to the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act for the state of Utah, of which adult education has a part, Title II. And Stephanie Patton, your adult education state director, will give you a very brief overview of how the update has come to be, and we would love to have an opportunity to accept any feedback that you might have to give back to the Department of Workforce Services before they submit this to the federal government. Okay,
so the opportunity that's before the board is there's really two. One is that the board support the Division of Workforce Services draft of the Utah WIOA state plan, or you can spell that out. Or another opportunity is that the board requests the Department of Workforce Services consider the following recommendations before finalizing the WIOA Utah state plan, and then list your recommendations. Those are the opportunities. Does anyone want this is actionable? Does somebody want to make a motion? Member Earl.
Thank you. I actually have just a couple of questions.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we don't have a motion on the floor, but we can certainly, you can ask some questions here.
Yes. So I went through some of this plan. I didn't get all the way through it. It's pretty lengthy, but my question is what specifically is our role in this? In other words, is it, I see that our CTE grants are acknowledged in here, and I see that adult education is in here, and I see that coordination with businesses as far as just assisting in making sure we're in the right direction with different services, providing education for that. So is that what I'm trying to figure out, the overall relationship do they oversee these programs? Do we, anyways, if you can help me just maybe structurally, I'm trying to understand what our relationship is.
Dr. Voorhees, did you want to respond, or?
Chair, I think it would be better if Stephanie responded. Thank you.
Stephanie Patton.
Stephanie Patton, State Adult Education Director for. So the state plan is a required portion that all of the, so under the Workforce Innovations and Opportunities Act, there are required partners, of which adult education is one of them. The Department of Workforce Services is the other one, which incorporates, right, the vocational rehabilitation, or the Utah State Office of Rehabilitation as part of that. So all three of us are required to come together to create a state plan based on the Workforce Innovations and Opportunities Act, because we receive funds from adult education funds, right, as the Adult Education Family Literacy Act. We are required to submit a portion of this plan. So the Department of Workforce Services, under the governor's direction, is the one that actually submits the plan for the state. But each of us, we combine together as those three required partners to create the plan, and we work together continuously, right, to implement the plan. Is that answer your question?
I guess yes, it does, a little bit. So I guess what I'm saying is the requirements from that plan are then pushed down into the State Board of Education, or is it the things that we value pushed up into the plan? Does that make sense? So where I'm trying to understand the roles there is, when they require something, does that then become something the State Board of Education and, you know, the associations, whether it's adult education, has to be committed to that, or if it's the other way around?
Stephanie Patton, can you respond to the question?
Yeah, thanks for that clarification. So let me try and answer it. So it's kind of a both ways, right? Like we helped write that and come up and help to design and create we had input, I guess, into the strategic pieces of that, the components that we're emphasizing and working on. And again, under the direction of the governor, right? Because this is really like his plan. And then we also have, you know, once it's approved and we also have the responsibility to implement those pieces. So it's both. Okay. And then the other part to this is we can submit recommendations currently still. Is that accurate? So if we had any ideas or recommendations, we could submit those to you. Is that accurate? That's right. And then I would, you know, work with the Department of Workforce Services to make those changes before it was actually submitted.
Okay, thank you.
There's a question for Stephanie. Can you speak to the history of this work and how often that it's revisited on the state plan side?
So this is just an interim one. So every 4 years we're required to come up with a brand new plan, right? This is an update. So that's required every 2 years. And the Workforce Innovations and Opportunities Act was actually put in place December of 2014. So we've been doing a 4-year plan, you know, since then. 2018, 2022. And then this one is, 2016, 2020. This is the update from the 2020 plan.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I didn't see that in the history on it, but I can recall this coming before us in the past. Questions, comments? Member Hutchings?
I'm just wondering if you could highlight just very quickly any of the meaningful changes that were made.
Yeah, for sure. So as this outlines, there weren't, because it's just an update, there weren't tons of updates. For adult education, the main updates were really just that we included, this outlines our process for the competitive process of allocating the Afla funds, right? And so we change that process a little bit. So it's a 2-step process according to the law. right? Programs have to prove demonstrated effectiveness in serving this population. And once they've proved that, then they actually are eligible to do the full application. So that's kind of the most significant change. There were some like minor changes to language and stuff, but not like really significant as far as adult education goes. There were a few updates to like the economic portions and stuff, broadly speaking. Not many changes for DWS plans and some changes to the vocational rehabilitation, mostly I think surrounding their waiting list and process there.
Do you have a follow-up, Member Hutchings?
No, thanks.
Member Moss? I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. I was ready to bring a motion, but I see that Member Booth has a hand up.
Okay, I can go to Member Booth and then come back to you. Member Booth?
I was ready to bring a motion. We'll let Board Member Moss go ahead.
Well, okay, Member, you want to pass on this opportunity? Member Moss?
Well, I'm ready to bring a motion to approve. Sorry, let me pull it up here. I apologize. I move that the board supports the Division of Workforce Services draft of the Utah WIOA state plan.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, that's second, Member Booth, and a few hands were raising. Do you want to speak to the motion? Member Moss?
Briefly, I serve as the board's representative to Talent Ready Utah, or the governor's economic opportunity. I'm botching acronyms. I've got too many of them in my head, but the agency formerly known as Talent Ready Utah is doing some great work in this area. And I believe that adult ed has tapped into that, looking at the growth in emerging trends of demand in our industries in Utah. And I've seen under Senator Milner's direction some real drilling down on that. So I think there's some good work being done there. And I believe adult ed is part of that, and encourage that collaboration to move forward as we really slice and dice the best opportunities out there in this really strong and growing Utah economy. So I appreciate the work and happy to support approval of this plan.
All right. I'm not seeing any other hands raised. I'll put the motion before the board, and the motion before the board is that the board support the Division of Workforce Services draft of the Utah WIOA state plan. Board members at this time, please vote. The voting is complete and the voting is unanimous. Is that how you see it, Vice Chair? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Voorhees and Stephanie Patton.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Board.
Okay.